to you, but we're going to start by lying down, and this is particularly was designed by a yoga guru, and it was originally yoga for weight. So that might be interesting for you. Are you okay? The sun's not bothering you or anything like that? No. But coming to lie with your legs stretched out, and then come to roll the ankles in one direction. And notice when you roll your ankles, circle your ankles, where you miss the gaps. In your circling. And then very gently circle your ankles in the other direction. And then release and relax your feet out to the side. Keeping your elbows on the ground, lift your hands up to the ceiling and circle your wrists in one direction. And then circle your wrists in the other direction. Open your fingers, just curl them in, and then release your hands back down to the ground. Just very gently turn your head to the left, a little bit or a lot. Come back to the centre, and very gently turn your head to the right. And come back to the centre. Extend your right heel and bending your right elbow, raise your right arm up above you, stretching into your right heel and stretching away with your right arm. And when you next breathe out, lower your right arm and relax your right heel, your right leg. And now extending your left heel, raise your left arm. You can bend at the elbow and then stretch out to where you feel is good for you. And then breathing out, lower your left arm and relax your left leg. Extend both your heels and raise both arms, stretching up above. You can extend your left heel so that your left side is stretching, and then extend your right heel so that your right side stretches. And again, extend the left heel, and then extend the right heel. And then breathing out, lower your arms back down alongside you. Once more, turn your head to the left. Bring your head back to centre and turn your head to the right. Come back to the centre. Bend your knees and place both feet on the floor. And imagine moving your tailbone, so it's like a pelvic tilt, down, or your tailbone moves down. So if you imagine a clock, you'd be moving up to your 12 o'clock. I hope that's not confusing. And then flatten your lower back so that with your tailbone, it lifts and you're coming to your 6 o'clock. Come back to neutral and go to either the right or the left. Say the right, so it's your 3 o'clock. Your knees might move. Come to the centre and then very gently go to your 9 o'clock. Come to the centre. And then circle on the base of your sacrum. So your knees might move as you move in a little circle about the size of a 50p piece around the base of the sacrum. And then just reverse that circle. Going in the other direction. Staying where you are, your knees are central, open your arms out to the side. Now then, lovely if you can make it in a straight T at shoulder height. If that stretches you too much under your arms, then you can lower your arms to an A, like a 45-degree angle. And very gently just let both knees drift over to the right, which will mean that your left hip will lift off the floor. And you can open your head to look upwards or even turn your head slightly to the left. And your eyes can be open or closed. It's a very relaxed pose where your legs fall, you'll feel quite a nice stretch. Talk in yoga varies, the trends alter, but the very current thinking is that this type of movement creates a fluid diaphragm psoas matrix. It's all one, it's just opening you out. And then bringing your lower abdomen, your tummy in towards your spine. Bring both knees up to the centre. And of course, we're going to go to the other side, dropping both knees over to the left. So that means that your right hip is lifting up. And again, you can use, turn your head looking upright or to the right. Whatever you want to do is absolutely fine. And then very gently come back to the centre with your knees. And hug both knees into the chest. Just rock gently from side to side. And you can choose to join your head in this movement as well. Holding your left knee in towards your chest, raise your right leg and point and flex your right foot. So you're holding the left knee into your chest with both hands. And then you can start to once more circle your right ankle in one direction and to circle your ankle again in the other direction. And then hug both knees into the chest. Rock once more from side to side. And then hug your right knee into your chest. And extend your left leg up to the ceiling as you point and flex your left foot. And then very gently circle the left ankle in one direction. And then circle the left ankle in the other direction. And then hugging both knees into the chest. Both feet stretch up to the ceiling and stretch your arms up. You can stretch them behind you if that works for you. Breathe out, hug the knees into the chest. And next, breathing in, soles of the feet to the ceiling. Raise your arms upwards and maybe behind you. And breathing out, hug your knees into your chest. And then slide your hands down the shins so that you're holding just above the ankles. The big toes are sort of vaguely aiming towards each other, but you'll feel this stretch in the groin, which is opening out into the lower lymphatic system. So it becomes an immune boost. And then from here, hug both knees into the chest. Place your right foot on the floor. Hug your left knee into the chest and come to a half happy baby on the left side. So whether you hold your foot on the inside or hold the outside of the foot is up to you. I know, Sue, you like holding it on the outside. Doing one leg at a time in therapy often gives a much more focused sensation on each side, and you can sometimes go further by doing one side at a time. And then releasing the left knee, hugging the left knee into the chest. Place the left foot on the floor, and we're going to do the same on the other side by hugging the right knee into the chest and coming to half happy baby, holding under the foot. How that works for you, either from the inside where the fingers hold the outside of the foot, or hold the outside of the foot, which is actually, I think, easier, but whatever works for you. And then very gently bend the right knee into the chest. Hug the left knee in too, so both knees are into the chest. Breathing in, let both knees extend away from you to arm's length. Breathing out, hugging the knees into the chest. And breathing in, let the knees extend away. And breathing out, knees hug into the chest. Before we come to our hands up, before we move on to the next stage, I just wanted to invite you to hold behind your thighs, clasping your hands, raising your legs up to the ceiling. You can keep a bend in the knee. And this supine inversion, which you can do against the wall, legs up the wall, hope you're listening, is for about 10 or 15 minutes, is wonderful for hangovers. So it replenishes the blood to the head.
I'm not sure if I should ignore that.
And it goes a long way to rebalancing the fluid levels. So if you were staying here with your legs up the wall, you would open your shoulders, you'd have support under your head, and you'd make it a very luxurious, relaxing few minutes rest. So just for future. And then just very gently hug both knees into the chest. And we're going to come up to a seated position. I'm going to come to a cross-legged position, but for anybody who doesn't like that and who might prefer to sit with the legs straight out, that's absolutely fine. And also on the subject of headaches, not necessarily hangovers, if you've got 2 points above the eyebrows, and in energy medicine they're called the neurovasculars, and if you press on them, it activates a very ancient part of the brain, the fight or flight reflex. So when we need to run away from danger, the blood can kind of drain back, just to give us power to run. So it's pressing on this retains the blood in the head. So you would naturally, if you had a major headache, possibly drop the weight of your head onto your fingers, and you might have your elbows resting either on your legs, or you might have them resting on a table or on a bolster. And this is also quite helpful and comes, as I said, within the very lovely energy medicine healing. So coming back to Ayurveda and to yoga, just very, very gently sitting up, hold your knees or below the knees, breathing in, sitting up, and breathing out, rounding chin to chest. Breathing in, sitting up, and breathing out, rounding chin to chest. The chin to chest action extends the back of the neck, so you get blood and energy going into the head, which you need for headaches. And you also activate the vagus nerve, which is anti-inflammatory. So any form of forward bend done slowly, not to the extreme, as with everything, is calming for the nervous system. You get it sometimes that if you're too extreme or you move too quickly, you come down too low, that the blood can, not be great in the head, but that's always at the extremes. This is also warming up the spine. You're also stretching as you bring your chin to your chest. I don't know if you remember this, Sue. There are some major points at the back of your head, and they're acupressure points, and they almost get activated as you bring your head down here. And there's one of the major meridians, it's something like the gallbladder.
Gallbladder, yeah.
Gallbladder, there you go. So your gallbladder, everybody, just to make the point, very much tunes into your liver, which will have had a bit of a bashing if you've overindulged. So so that is helpful in that respect. And then sitting up, just very gently let your fingers go to the left, tummy in, perineum engages slightly, lifting your right elbow and just slightly going over to your left. You can stretch your arm out or keep the elbow bent. You can pulse in and out. Tummy in, press down with your left hand to bring you upright, and then just slide your hands or walk your fingertips to the right. The dome aspect of your fingers gives additional strength, and come over to the other side. And then just very gently come to upright, lift and roll your shoulders. And then we're going to come to kneeling in tabletop. And we're going to come to some really very classic cat-cow. So hands shoulder width apart, knees hip width apart. As you breathe in, dip your back and look either up or along the mat. The choice is yours according to how you feel in your neck. Breathe out, round, chin comes to chest. You can either initiate the rounding from the tailbone, which is normal in yoga, or imagine a magnet as we come to dipping the back again, breathing in, coming to the centre of the back. Each movement is very valid, or each visualization. So the back connects into every, the spine, we're just doing cat-cow, connects into every major aspect of our hormonal endocrine system. And so you're just gently rebalancing the body here, as well as opening on all the major organs, the blood supply. I mean, just such a simple movement has so many benefits. It's very calming. And the other point to make is that the heart is parallel to the ground, so it's very restful. Anybody who's had a heart issue, none of us has, that I'm aware of, but anybody who's had a heart issue, this is such a brilliant, restful position for the heart. The heart hasn't got so far to pump up to the head, it's just all on a parallel line. And then the invitation is to, in the Ayurveda tradition, some of you aren't going to want to sit up like this, so you might want to kneel up and just take your blood Just notice your blood flow, your blood pressure. Just tuning into the flow of blood, health today. Not something we do very often. And then we're coming back down to hair. So bottom up, it's almost like a puppy pose, elbows on the ground. Hair invites you to just slightly roll up and down on your forehead. However, you may prefer to stay static. You're massaging the top of the head, the top of the skull, but not putting any pressure on the skull or the neck. But if you prefer to stay static, then just stay into puppy pose. And then from here, slide your hands towards you as you kneel up. Circle your hands up, stretch them up. Bring your hands back down through the center. And then come to tabletop. Breathing in cat, rounding cow. Bring your bottom towards your heels, slide your hands towards you as you kneel up. Hoping everyone's all right with their knees, are they? Stretching up, bring your hands back down through the center. To tabletop. Slide your hands out, breathing in, dipping your back. Cat and cow, rounding the back. Bringing the bottom towards the heels as you slide the hands towards you. Kneeling up, stretching up. So this is a form of like moon salute. For those of you who don't lie down the dog, breathing in, dipping your back, cat, rounding cow, and bringing your bottom towards your heels, sliding your hands towards you as you kneel up, stretching hands together. Sliding your hands to tabletop. Cat, rounding, bottom towards the heels. Slide your hands towards you as you kneel up, hands up. And then lower the hands. So my left hand is in front of my tummy and my right hand is on my waist. And I'm going to turn to look over my right shoulder or towards my right shoulder. Come back to the center, and then the right hand goes on the tummy, left hand goes on the waist, left waist, and turn to the left, the other direction. And then come back to the center, and just open the hands out and upwards, looking up, lifting the chin slightly, so this becomes a mindfulness movement. Disconnecting the eyes from the stress centers of the brain. Bring your head upright. Come to lightly place your hands on the floor. Tuck your toes underneath. And then we're going to very gently come up to standing. If you would like to come via downward dog, then you're very welcome to. But otherwise, we're going to come up via standing. If you come via downward dog, then maybe walk the dog. And then bring your feet to your hands to your feet. Then roll up very, very gently, vertebra by vertebra to standing. Lifting and rolling the shoulders once you get there. And then this very familiar balancing our energies from side to side. Lifting the heels. Then gently begin to slow the movement down. And then just gently come to standstill. Bring your feet to hip width apart and lift and roll the shoulders. A coordination movement as you raise your right arm and circle the wrists. They naturally go in one way. And then circle the other way. So your brain will naturally, depending on how we're configured, choose one way to go. That is the more dominant side for us, and then lower that hand. Lift and roll the shoulders. And then raise the left hand, and again, automatically you're going one way. And again, that's more dominant. I'm going to ask them what, which way, but I don't know, it's just like a crossover, and then the other way. And then we've done this exercise before, lower the hand, lift and roll the shoulders. But it works on the liver side because, I don't know why, but anyway, it just breathing in, so the hands up, behind, cross. Up, behind, and cross the other way. So it almost shakes energy out, but in a very gentle way. And it's said to get rid of anger and frustration and irritation and tension. And I know that works on the liver aspect of the energy. You're stretching your back as well. And then just sway your arms, and then just come to standstill. This lifting and rolling the shoulders that we do all the time opens gateway pathways into the head, and any of the illnesses, they call them the upper diseases, is where the energy here is blocked. So opening this is really helpful to get the energy up. So this is really almost just a token. Stepping forward with your left foot. Your right foot can lift or can be flat. It's going to be a warrior one modification. So your left foot, if you're wobbling on your balance, can be further out to the left of the mat. And you can, if you're feeling very energetic, have a wider, what I call a wider stance. But just be careful, because when you turn to look forwards, there's quite a torque in the hips, which is why some people either have a shorter stance or they lift their heel. So it's up to you. Soften your left front knee and drop your weight centrally. Hands on the waist, you're opening your lungs and lifting here at the chest. Just take a couple of breaths here. And then cactus arms, so you're opening the shoulders, that's still the lung meridians. And again, you can feel the air stretching you from the inside. And then option, you raise your hands up. You'll feel a bigger stretch. You can stay looking forward. If you like and your balance is steady and you want to look up, it's not going to compromise your neck, you can look up. And then breathing out, lower your arms. And step your left foot back to your right. And just slightly move from side to side. To step your right foot forward. It's going to be the same on the right side. Take time to find the perfect adjustment for you. When people soften their front knee and bend their knee, there's a tendency to put the weight on the front hip, which strains the hip and strains the knee. So hence the invitation is always to drop your weight centrally so that you're not putting strain on that front joint. Hands on the waist. And again, you're opening across the heart muscle, pericardium muscle, you're stretching your chest. Opening here under the arms and opening here under the lymphatic system. So again, such a simple movement. It's classified as a back bend in yoga because you're lifting at the chest, and lifting at the chest is very uplifting for the mood. It's also, not that that bothers any of us, I don't think, osteoporosis, very good for osteoporosis. And then your cactus arms. Again, you can feel this opening here, and the invitation then is to lift your arms up, either looking ahead, or if you feel that you're able to look up, then look up. Again, this becomes a mindfulness exercise. And then breathing out, lower. Your hands back down. Step back. Lift and roll your shoulders. Just step your left foot forward a little bit, not very much at all. This is a shoulder and eye exercise. Make a very loose fist with your right hand, with your right thumb up, and then just very gently following your circle with your eyes. If your shoulder is stiff or sore, you can always bend at the elbow to soften that. And you might find that the challenge is to keep your eyes on your thumb. For me, it's when it goes backwards. I find that my eyes tend to skip. And then very gently reverse your circle when you're ready, so that you lift up and you're coming backwards. It's also a neck exercise as well. We tend, with the hips and the shoulders, not to move them into their full rotational capacity, and you can't do that when you're moving quickly. So this is a very thorough circle, and then release, and then of course then we're going to come to reverse the other side, right foot forward, make a loose fist, and come forward. To think there for a moment. You'll find this particular series of movements in Tibetan yoga, which will be in other traditions as well, but particularly I've noticed that you find this in Tibetan yoga, where it's again very simple but incredibly effective. And then very gently, when you're ready, reverse your circle. When you lift your chin up, it's fine as long as you do it very slowly and with awareness. It's when people kind of casually toss their head back and let it drop and the head's heavy that you can have issues. And then just very gently step back, lift and roll. And then just very gently, this is for the wrists, just backs of the hands together. Hopefully you can see. And then just very gently the other way. Bring the hands to the heart, palms together. Circle, touching the palms. Bring the hands through the center as you bend your elbows and your knees. And come now to a seated position. So rather than have your legs out in front of you, so rather than have you lying on your tummies, you can do this lying on your tummies, we're going to do it seated. Flesh out from under the bottom, Hands lightly by your side. You can have your hands out if you need to. And then just lift your chest. Slightly lift your chin and look up. So this is like an upside down sphinx. Sphinx, you lie on your tummy and you lie on your elbows. But the function of the pose is a back bend and lifting the chest. And so we're achieving that by doing this. Not quite as effective, but it still achieves that objective. And then just bring your head upright. Feet out in a wide kind of V. Just bounce your legs and just either tap or rub. Extending both heels. And then turn towards the outstretched left leg. Circle your hands up. I have got a compromised core really, so I like to bend my elbows to come down. But if you're very strong, you can come straight over just to hold your shin. You're coming into modified Janushasana, head to knee, but without bending the knee up. You're opening the inner groin, so it's the lymphatic system, but you're slightly rotating over your outstretched leg, so it becomes a rotation, and any rotation lengthens the back muscles, so it realigns your back, and it's a forward bend, so it's calming for the nervous system. And if you want to go a little bit further, you can lengthen your back as you breathe in and walk your hands down a little bit further. If you're really there, then hold the outside of your left foot with your right hand, left hand behind, and look chin in towards the left. And that stretches a muscle on the right from the hip to the ribs called the quadratus lumborum, which is very implicated in lower back issues. And this is one very nice way to stretch it. Tummy in wherever you are to slide your way up. Raise your right hand and look upwards. Again, this mindfulness action of disconnecting the eyes from the stress centers of the brain. And then lower your right hand. Lengthen your body, turn towards the right side, raise your arms up, and then coming, either bending the elbows or straight over to slide your hands down your right shin. Coming to rest where works for you. And again, you'll feel the pull on your left side from the left hip to the up towards the left ribs, the quadratus lumborum. Forward bend, calming for the nervous system, involving the vagus nerve, which is becoming super popularized in the yoga world at the moment, the vagus nerve. But the vagus nerve also extends to the gut and the gut brain, so it's quite significant. And then very gently sliding your hands up. And just trying to think, yes, the other, it's the right hand, no, left hand, whatever. Sorry, I've had a complete mental breakdown. The other hand up, looking at your thumb. And then lower the hand. Bring your legs together and just slide your hands down to rest on your shins, a half forward bend. And then just very gently slide your hands up, bend your knees and come to lie. You can come to lie in Shavasana, or you can come to lie with your knees bent. Letting this very gentle movement absorb into the body. You can have your hands on your abdomen or classically palms up. Just bring your attention to the parts of your body that connect and are lying on the floor. And notice the quality of the clothing against the skin. Perhaps just gently turn your head again from side to side. Take a moment to have a thought for the day, your sankalpa. It can be wishing something for you, or it could be something for someone close to you. Have that thought and mentally think the thought a couple of times. And then let that thought drift away, knowing that your intention for the day has been set. Bring the attention to the feet, relax the feet, the space beyond the feet, tops of the feet, soles, the heels, back of the heels, along the shins, the calves, the knees, backs of the knees, thighs, hips, the pelvis as it rests heavy on that. Moving along the front of the body through the lower abdominal area up towards the stomach, diaphragm, up further to the chest and across to the heart, opening up along the collarbones and the shoulders, drifting down the top of the arms, relaxing them on the floor, the elbows, inside and the back of the elbows, along the forearms, to the wrists, hands, backs of the hands, palms, thumbs, first finger, second, third, fourth little fingers, the space beyond the fingers. Bring the attention to the base of the spine and moving along up the spine to the base of the shoulder blades, between the shoulder blades, the back of the neck, along the neck to the back of the head, and up to the ears, the space between the ears, to the crown of the head, and moving across there to the forehead, smoothing out across the forehead to the temples, across the brows, eyebrows, and dropping to the eyes, along the cheeks, down to the jawbone, and along to the chin and the throat. Moving back to the chin, the lower lip, upper lip, and settling at the base of the nostrils as you breathe in to a point in the centre of the head as you imagine it, and breathe out. Let the air float down through the body, taking with it anything you don't want today, anything, any pain, niggles, thoughts, just put them in that out breath and let it leave from the soles of the feet. Again, bringing this focus to the base of the nostrils, breathing in to the point of the centre of the head, breathing out, drifting that transparent air like a veil all the way down through the body, moving through the soles of the feet. And breathing in again, point in the centre of the head, very gently breathing out, back down through the soles of the feet. And now as you breathe in, choose a colour, any colour that works with you today, and breathe in coloured air of your choice to the centre of the head. And wrapping yourself inside and out as you breathe your coloured air, wrapping you like a cocoon as it just filters down, leaving through the soles of the feet, and just keep leaving you protected. Only positive things can come in today. Just let that thought drift away. And then just very gently bring the palms of the hands together and just rub them. It generates energy, and it's called palming when you place the palms of your hands over your closed eyes, letting the electrical energy that's been generated permeate through the closed eyes. And when you're ready, just open your eyes into the darkness of the hands, and then very gently let the hands just move away. And then wherever you are, you might like to hug your knees into the chest once more and come to a very gentle side to side. And then taking your time to roll to one side. If you've got the space, then perhaps choose your right side because it's away from the heart. And so it's less stressful for the body to come to a seated position. Taking your time to come up. And then coming to a seated position, however that works for you. To bring your hands to your heart, your chin to your chest, wishing you all a very lovely day ahead. And thank you for joining me today.